Wait, the wire hanger with the basket. Oh man,
with the socks?
Yeah, man.
Hold on.
Man, that was me all day, son. That was me.
Hold up. We're about to go live. Hold up. Let me do the intro for y'all. Hold on.
Yeah, man. That was me.
Mic check. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned into the Afterthought Podcast Live with your host, Joe Hill. I want to introduce your starting lineup and panel for the Last Dance review. At forward, out of the Bronx, representing Harlem, wearing red cap, red shirt, my guy, J.P. Campbell. At forward / guard, from Queens. Used to play ball in high school, now he's back. Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite comedian, K. Smith. And round out the lineup at forward. They call him the Matrix. Ladies and gentlemen, showing some love for the skinny bandit, Bray. That was the corniest fucking intro.
Hey, yo, listen, yo.
Ain't no Mark Albert.
Yo, Gray needed another name to go past Gray. Gray.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Afterthought Podcast. I got y'all in here. You already know. For those that are tuning in, we are now on YouTube Live. That's right. We're going to be on here for a while. We're going to be discussing, of course, The Last Dance, the first couple episodes 1 through 4, in detail. But before I do that, I got my fellas. What's good, fellas? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling during the quarantine right now?
Good to go, baby.
Wondering how K got a decent haircut and I got the afro on like 100, but I'm good.
Nobody, man.
Hey, you went to the barber or the barber came to you?
Who, that me?
Yeah.
I got a haircut, man. Don't come on, man. I don't want to mess with my license up, man. You know, I don't know watching this, man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I got dreads under here somewhere.
Wait, so you good over there, G? You holding on strong?
Yo, I'm doing as best I could, but I definitely been tuned into this Last Dance thing. It's something that really I was looking forward to, and it's definitely something that sparks my interest right now. We looking for something, so this was big right now.
And I know you're a Bulls fan, OD, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But I got my guy JP. You good over there, JP?
Feeling great, man. Watching them episodes, couple of rough flashbacks, because as a diehard Knicks fan,
you know what it is.
Charles Smith.
I mean,
don't start that.
I think it's a perfect segue. We could dive right into it, and I think it's how we all connect to Jordan before we get into The Last Dance. I feel like for me, I was talking before the show with them, like, coming up in that 90s era, Michael Jordan was televised heavy, and the NBA did a great job of marketing Michael Jordan. So like that Thursday night game on TNT or TBS, rather have you.
Yeah.
Bulls was always playing prime time. Sunday evening, Bulls was always playing. So I wasn't necessarily a Jordan fan, but he definitely took out my Knicks a bunch of times. So we had to see him, throughout the 90s. But for me, I just feel like Jordan definitely, after watching the series though and seeing it, I could see firsthand why he's the man.
Yeah, I would agree, without a doubt.
What do you think, JP?
It's just, he definitely is. There's no ifs, ands, and maybes about it. Like all the debates about who it is, like it could just stop. Like we just wasting our time talking about debating who's the GOAT. But I think it's always more important, and what I appreciate the most is the details of learning about the man, understanding the team, seeing the relationship he had with his father, relationship he had with Phil. Like those are the things. Like really getting to know MJ more. Like seeing the man, like is what really garnered my attention a lot more because he was this larger than life figure in the 90s. We grew up. It's like, oh my goodness.
No, you're right.
He's the end all be all. Like,
yeah. I know you was heavy on the Jordan.
Say that again?
I said I know you was heavy on the Jordan coming up.
I was heavy on Jordan, but I was a Knicks fan also. Never really a Jordan fan. Love the sneakers though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to get the sneakers, you know. But as far as the kid of basketball, I played ball, man. I was actually deep in basketball, rooted. Jordan changed the game. Jordan made you want to come from outside and watch the game. And when you was a kid growing up, you play ball all day, but Jordan was playing, you go upstairs, wash your hands, you know, drink some Kool-Aid, man, and watch the game, man. He became iconic. He became an iconic figure, you know, bigger than any other athlete besides just basketball. You know, so in those terms, you know, he changed the aspect of sports in the whole. You know, that made him great. That made him great. You know, when it came down to viewers and, you know, NBC views went up millions, and he changed the game financially, all of that. So, you know, that makes him the great. He started it. He's still a great. Even from that happened almost 25 years ago, he's still the greatest of all time. I'm watching that documentary.
And I know Gray coming up, you know, those that know we're related, same mother. And I know coming up, Gray was a super, super diehard Jordan fan. So I know for you, Gray, it was different.
For real. I don't want to turn into Stephen A right now because I'm really passionate about this for real because I'm a diehard Jordan fan. Like, I just loved that guy for so long. He always taught me what it was like to be great, you know, like just set that example. And like, I have a daughter and I named her Jordan. Like, that's how obsessed I was with this guy when we were younger. And like, they showed him on TV and I tell this story of like how I went to a Knicks game. I watched Charles Barkley destroy the Knicks. And I remember being like, damn, they just killed my home team. Like, should I even really be voting for them? And then Michael Jordan just came along and he just kind of did it at such a consistent rate and at just a high level that it was just, as a basketball player, you couldn't help but to emulate that guy. Even if you didn't like him, if you didn't like his team, you were still on the court talking about Jordan trying to jump from the free throw line, you know, and Kay said it. Kay said it, he turned into like larger than life in terms of like the shoes and the movies and just all of the deals and all of the things that came with him. So like, definitely big fan, you know, and I'm happy that they put this out for real. It's been a while, but it had me feeling like I was young again.
Well, that's what I said though. Coming up, you know, G was, like I said, diehard Bulls fan. He was a, I wouldn't say hoard, but he was definitely a collector of a lot of Bulls memorabilia. And our grandmother, I'm gonna pass it to G, but I'm gonna set it up like this. You know, our grandmother bought him. It was right after the Bulls won one of their championships. You know how when you watching TV back in the day, they was you know the Home Shopping Network, and they had the dinner ceramic lasered Michael Jordan plates. I'm talking, this nigga was in fast break mode on a fucking salad plate. You know what I'm saying? Like glass, ceramic type official gold trimming and engraved, and it came in like a 3 set. And I'm gonna pass it to G right there on this story right here, because
it was like fine china too. Like our grandmother was obsessed with QVC. Like, and you know, the night that any team wins a championship, they showed you that commercial. Boom, you know, like the box set. So, like, yo, literally, they knew I was so juiced. She already ordered one. Boom, surprise me, bow. I'm hype, you know, like, and I'm guarding this thing with my life. I'm like, yo, I literally sat Joe down for a talk. Like, please don't break this. I'm gonna put it over here. And sure enough, he in the crib wrestling, doing moves, and I don't know if he do something. And ow.
You want to kill him that night?
Oh my God, I almost had a heart attack. I never even ate on that plate. You know, like that's
It's crazy. But just to see the effect Jordan, you know, had on everybody was crazy. But Episode 1, I think, is interesting, and I didn't know this, even though I knew this, and I want to go right to it. Obviously, those that know, Michael Jordan played for the University of North Carolina, but he wasn't the best player on the team. Okay, am I right? It wasn't it, or would you say James Worthy was the star of that?
Definitely was. James Worthy was a star. Jordan did 3 years in college. James Worthy was the star. James Worthy got drafted in '82. 2 years before Mike. So he was in the league 2 years before Mike. That was James Worthy's team. It was James Worthy. It was
Kenny Smith.
No, not Kenny Smith. Not Kenny Smith.
Sam
Perkins.
Kenny
Smith came later on. It was Sam Perkins. James Worthy was actually National College Player of the Year, I believe, that year as well. That was his team. Jordan just outworked everybody, And he did 3 years of college, which is actually unheard of nowadays as far as talent wise. So he earned his spot,
They had they had Brad Daugherty too.
Yeah.
Later on.
Matt Daugherty.
Yeah.
No. They had Brad Daugherty. Kenny Smith was later on. That was like maybe like 86, 87-ish.
Yeah.
But Kenny was
Sam Perkins, they had Jimmy Black, they had Worthy. Sam Perkins.
That was on that championship team, Tay. Jordan earned his stripes because he hit the shot in the championship game
Against Georgetown.
Against Georgetown.
Yeah.
What happened was that after that year, Worthy went to the league, and Perkins
82.
and Mike was still there.
Right.
And then Mike's junior year when he was leaving was Kenny Smith's freshman year.
Yeah.
So they overlapped that 84 year, and then the rest of them came in. But he earned that big shot to beat Georgetown.
Drafted in 87.
Yeah.
87 got drafted.
Yo, I was gonna say that was a gutsy shot coming from a freshman, and it just showed he was ready for the big leagues. You know what I'm saying? Since day one, he always was hungry for that spot. And want to know what's crazier to me? Definitely him hitting the shot, but any Jordan fan knows he hit that shot. But the fact that he was playing Patrick Ewing in that game, that was just a big standout to me because I hadn't fully remembered it being against Patrick Ewing, and then just to see the legacy of Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing, from that day on after that was just crazy.
They're calling the bullshit fouls up at you in that game too.
You was at the game?
Huh? He had three fouls in the first half type shit. So Pat Satellite in first half of that game. Remember, he's only 5 fouls in college, man. So Pat was dope in college also. So why not say that? So you're a Knicks fan?
Yeah.
Pat was super dope in college, man.
That's Pat.
Super dope in the league.
Super dope.
JP,
In the league too.
I want to ask JP, if Jordan doesn't hit the shot, in the tournament, does he have the same effect at the jump start of his career?
Definitely.
I think
If he misses the shot, though, I'm saying if he misses the shot.
Yeah, he does. He does. You know why? Because if we've learned anything from watching The Last Dance, Mike's failures, the things where people may have slighted him, because someone would have said something about it, fueled him to be even better and even stronger.
Definitely.
If the fact that he had the balls to take the shot says enough already about what kind of makeup he has. If he missed it, it would have fueled him even more. He probably would have came out his sophomore year. There would have probably been somewhere it's you know what? There's nothing that nobody in the ACC can stop me. Nobody in the Big East is going to stop me. And I'm going to just get this work. I think it had just fueled Mike even more. So making the shot just only cements to the legacy. Missing the shot would have just made him be that wasn't my time, and made him probably go even harder. Do we want Mike going even harder at 19 years old? Think about that.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say too is that we were talking about when we were kids, I wanted to go to North Carolina because of Michael Jordan. that was just like the school, like, and my brother, he's an avid Duke fan. Anybody that knows him, like, so that also fueled, like, you know, that rivalry for us as kids. But like, it all was back to me wanting to be a part of like that Jordan legacy. I wanted to follow that road. So definitely, that North Carolina shot was big.
But North Carolina was definitely, as far as in the '80s, the Big East was the best conference in the '80s. You know, big time. The Big East had Georgetown. You had Syracuse. You had St. John's. You had UConn. I mean, the Big East was the best conference.
Villanova. Villanova team was good too. K.
Who?
Those Villanova teams.
Villanova, of course. Villanova. Oh, here you go. Rowley and who they had? Who they got? They had Ed Pinckney. From the Bronx.
Yeah, Ed Pinckney from the Bronx.
From the Bronx. Ed Pinckney.
Ed Pinckney. My way, yeah.
That's when the Bronx had You're at Talentine High School.
Yeah.
Talentine, Malik Sealy, Adrian Autry.
Yep.
Yo, rest in peace, Malik Sealy, man.
Hey, rest in peace, Malik Sealy, man. Sure. But back to you saying also, so basically, I think the talent level back in college, when he actually went to school for more than a year or two, was way, the work ethic was different. Nowadays, I'm getting off topic. Nowadays, the kids don't got to work as hard because everything is not given to them. But think about it. These kids is cocky now, writing the names on their sneakers and all that. That was a privilege back in the days. It's different now.
Coaching was better.
Coaching was way better. Kids wasn't as sensitive. So, you know, Jordan, it was a different. The times are different. He came at the right time, and he made Nike a lot of money. I don't know if you segue into now, but you know, he made Nike a lot of money. Remember, everybody's wearing Adidas.
Mm-hmm.
And Nike,
he said he was gonna go with Adidas.
You know,
Mike said he was gonna go with Adidas in the last dance.
Adidas wasn't ready for that.
They weren't.
I'm gonna say wasn't ready. But Jordan transitioning from college to the NBA, and I'm gonna say this. Why was it? What? I'm actually. I'll rephrase it. Why do y'all think the Jordan 84 to 89? Why do you think it took so long for him to mature into the player he was in the 90s, versus transitioning out of college and taking those 5 years to kind of be that, you know, I guess per se that scorer? Because he averaged, you know, if we talk in chronological order, he did average what, between 30-36 at one point. He
was 37.
So
1 year. That was the 1 year of 37.
So I guess my question is, why do you think it took Jordan so long to mature into the beginning of the Last Dance, from the time he left college into that last dance period?
I'm gonna start with one word, and I'm gonna say leadership. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because if you notice that when Jordan speaks about like his early days in the NBA, right? He speaks of like guys around him that don't really care about the, you know, like the game the way that he does. And like, so he doesn't really have those veterans to kind of set him on the right path, but he has his own work ethic. You know what I'm saying? He also doesn't have coaches that kind of know what they're doing with a good team and a good player. So he's just out there showcasing what he can do. And I think at some point, he starts to see that it's getting easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first year was just like, I play a couple games. Wait a minute. I could score more than a few points. I could go for 20. I could go for 30. Wait a minute. Let me try to go for 40 on him. And he kind of just kept pushing himself, but he didn't have that leadership around him to kind of build him and to put him in a position to win. Mm-hmm. Even though, and those experiences from those teams that he played, the Pistons, the Celtics, the Lakers, like he needed those experiences also to know what it means to be a championship team as well. So like, I think the leadership around him was like that big part of it, like, and why we saw, because what is the difference between a Jordan that could get us 37 points and a Jordan that could win 3 championships in a row? Because the guy winning 3 championships in a row or 6 championships, he's not averaging 37. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm gonna piggyback off of that. I'll piggyback. All right. So think about this. He come to the league in '84, right? He gets hurt his second year, right?
Yep.
85.
Great segue, by the way. Yep.
Yeah. So it was 85, so 86 coming out party. We played against Boston. He scored 63, right? Now, back to what you said about leadership. Now, mind you, we all feed off coaches, and the coach starts to coach first, then down. Michael Jordan always, when he came to the Bulls, he said he basically knew that he had the green light. First year, he had the green light. First year, remember? First year. The only scorer on his team, the only scorer on his team was Orlando Woolridge, who also averaged 20-something. Orlando Woolridge, if you guys,
right. I remember him.
Yeah. So then Pippen got drafted in '87. Pippen kind of took Jordan off the ball to become more of a scorer now. Because think about it, we were talking about the point forward. Magic Johnson was a pure point guard. Pippen still was a strong three where he could run the. Remember Pippen grew 6 inches in 1 year, so he's playing a point to grown to 6'7", 6'8". So then Jordan's off the ball now. There's more options now. You know what I'm saying? Now Jordan can have a official point guard or a power forward, whatever you want to call it or whatever, to really direct and control. Pippen was the leader, honestly. Court leader-wise?
I say second best player of all time after Jordan, but some people give me flack for that. But
all time?
Of all time? Nah.
I don't know, Joe. I'm gonna let you hold that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you hold that. But I want to piggyback on what G said as well about leadership and what K said as well and the timing of it. Like, if we got to think about the league as a whole at that time. You realize when Magic and Bird came to the league, they went to organizations with phenomenal ownership and leadership.
Go ahead, talk about it.
After they had their first moments, you realize, think about who Bird and who Magic were playing with. We just talked about how James Worthy was the National College Player of the Year.
Right.
How did he get drafted, one, to go to a Lakers team that had Kareem and Magic? The Celtics was able to draft. They had Robert Parrish, and then they was able to draft McHale afterwards. They were able 81. To get
81.
So I'm saying is that those teams at that time were able to not only manipulate the league as far as the trades, the deals, but they have phenomenal coaching as well. Casey Jones, Pat Riley, Paul Westhead. Like, you realize, look at who Mike's original coach was when he came in. Mike didn't have that. And then Mike didn't have Hall of Fame talent to surround himself with until, to K's point, when he came in, when Scotty came in '87. So you're thinking about a good 3.5 years. He's dealt with injuries. He's dealt with a team that he talked about. They was already talking about how the drug use was rampant in Chicago. He was around guys. To G's point, there's no leadership to be like, yo, you're not supposed to do this. Mike said he was going into the room and seeing them getting high.
Yeah.
Right.
There was nobody. That wasn't happening on the Celtics. That wasn't happening on the Lakers. That wasn't happening on the Sixers with Moses Malone, with Dr. J. They were not having that. Right? So for a long time, I think Mike had what I think is so admirable is that he was so self-motivated to say, in spite of all these things, I'm going to keep going out, showing and proving. Other factors, too, I know we're going to talk about, but I just wanted to lead on that part as far as leadership.
No, I think that was I think that was dope.
Players, like, those is all things that we really would have had to consider.
Someone said to me about James Harden and Michael Jordan. I said, there's no comparison. And I said, James Harden is a great player. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
He's basically, but when it comes down to comparison, I think the will to win, which is key. Yeah. It's not, you can score 40. You know what I'm saying? But the will to win in your psyche becomes a whole different. I mean, when it comes to the psyche itself, man, and the will to win. Like Jordan said, he did whatever it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? So I think from him being from the rookie season to like 87, 88, you know what I'm saying? It was more so, him on the cusp of becoming an icon than winning. You feel me? Because he was an icon. Remember, he was an icon rookie year. He signed that big ass contract with Nike. But then now it's like you got everything you need now. You know what I'm saying? And he became great, an icon. Then he became on another level. Jordan was an icon early. People don't understand that. Mm-hmm. Early, he was an icon. He wasn't even 30 years old. He was an icon. So,
well, let me throw a wrench in the game right now, because you can have an icon, you can have a great pieces in place, but I think a lot of times the GMs stunt the growth sometimes, or they can fuck the rhythm up, as you see with Jerry Krause. And I want to swing it to GM. Before I do that, I just want to say a GM plays a pivotal role in crafting.
I got some good for that.
Putting together.
I got some good for that. I got some good for that.
And in my
I'll go last. Go ahead, G.
Look. I'm gonna say this. You have to have an eye for talent, but within that, you can't have an ego. And I think with Krause, there was a lot of ego driven and a lot of personal situations that drew. But G, go ahead.
First things first, like I want to say, I was a kid at this time, and I wasn't fully aware of like all the things that were going on behind the scenes with this team. So like that was a cool inside look with this documentary. Jerry Krause, it's crazy because I don't know if he's the real villain of the story, because I want to say that like he only had so much power, but he was the spokesperson. He was the voice for all of the things that went wrong. And I think at the end of the episode, they kind of I thought they did a cool thing of sliding between the beginning of Jordan's career and sliding back to the end and kind of bringing them together kind of at the end. So when they slid back, they kind of started with that beginning of that last season and the conversation about how organizations, players don't win championships, organizations.
He's the villain.
Right? Which was cold-blooded. Like we're gonna get into that comment in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just leave that comment on the table. But also, I think there's the conversation with Phil about even if you go 82-0, you won't be coming back. And I just think that to be in a situation where you are on the top of the throne and you're winning, like I can't imagine somebody trying to dismantle or change anything. You know, like if something is not broke, you know what I'm saying? Don't fix it. Like,
exactly.
It's really that simple. Like, I don't even know how they made it to a level of like, we should say something like that, So that was kind of mind blowing to me. And I'm gonna pass the ball on that, but that was just like such a shock for me as like.
Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, JP.
You know what? I know we all have tough takes on Krause, and I know you gonna go in, K. I'm gonna talk about the positive things that I saw from Krause.
Okay.
That I think sometimes get underrated, because I want to before we break them down, I want to acknowledge that he made a lot of good calls as well.
Right.
That's a fact.
Like, let's not forget he made the Oakley trade for Bill Cartwright.
Mm-hmm.
That trade actually helped both teams, actually, Knicks and Bulls.
Definitely.
But it definitely helped the Bulls at the time. You gotta give him credit for all the draft picks he made and all the positions where he was at too.
Okay.
Because he drafted Scotty, he drafted Horace Grant,
Cool coach.
he drafted B.J. Armstrong. He made the deals to get Rodman. He made the deals to sit here and draft Kukoc as well.
Mm-hmm.
Scout Kukoc.
And I want to give him credit, because to be honest with you, we weren't talking about international guys being that guy or having that type of impact on a team in the early 90s.
Right.
Only one player. Arvydas Sabonis.
Oh, and it took him forever to come across the league.
Yes.
You know the person I was gonna say, Kay?
Who?
Drazen Petrovic.
One of my
jerseys. We did not. Yeah. So I was thinking him because I said those Sabonis and Petrovic were the only two guys that people was like, you know what? They may have something, but you know what? It took Sabonis forever to come to the league. He came to the league when he was old.
He was a 35-year-old.
And God rest his soul, we lost Petrovic before we could see him get to his prime.
Right.
So there were so many different questions about the European guys, and Krause was like, nah, who coach is going to be that guy? And he got that right. So I want to give him credit for making the draft picks that he made. I want to give him credit for being able to maneuver a salary cap with the talent that he did at that time.
Yes.
So I want to give him credit for hiring Phil to work under Doug Collins and not being afraid to pull the trigger on getting rid of Doug Collins, even though they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. Because that takes a lot of balls to do too. Yeah. They was just supposed to be in Detroit with Doug Collins.
That's a fact, though.
So I wanna sit here and say, you know what? I'm gonna give Krause the props for doing those things, assessing the talent, putting a team together that fit the way that it did, being able to make significant trades, good moves, like sneaky stealing Steve Kerr.
I don't want to give him too much credit. You know why? Because he's not playing.
Okay.
He's not taking the last
piggyback. Hold on. Now can I piggy? JP, you finish?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, that's
the importance of no. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. The positives. You know what it was? What I love what Jerry Krause did. He was the GM. He didn't give a fuck about what player, how great a player was to make decisions. He did his job as a general manager, as every GM should. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time, right? You know, Michael never went to Jerry Krause and mentioned about to get this player, get that player. Never. Jerry Krause did his job. Michael's problem was Jerry Krause just wanted to, I guess, quote unquote, dismantle the team when I give whatever. But he had the players already. Krause did his job. Krause was a great GM. Krause was just saying he was up front with them from the beginning. Listen, we can do another direction the next year. But Krause was a great GM. Like he said, he made great moves, man. He built a championship team. I don't agree with what he said about franchises. No, players win championships all the way. As far as what he did as a GM, super dope. And the reason why I said because that was his job. He got paid to be a GM. Players nowadays, they're crybabies. I don't like him. I like him. Jordan not one time said, let's bring this player over there. Krause worked out every single deal. That's why he won 6 championships.
I want to ask y'all something. And this is something we're gonna be doing throughout the podcast, throughout this review. Just after
good shit, by the way.
But I want to do something with y'all. We're gonna be doing this throughout this show a few more times. It's called #TheLast. And when I say the last, I'm gonna paint a situation. You tell me what, from a coaching standpoint, we've all coached, we've all done basketball and played basketball. Specifically, and this is a perfect segue for Scottie Pippen after this, it's 1.8 seconds left on the clock. What type of play are you calling in that scenario? When I say that we've all coached, I want to know, I want to kind of get like to learn, what would you do in that moment? Are you calling a jump shot play to Jordan? Are you calling, like, take us in the mind of a coach, because we've all coached. What are you doing with 1.8 seconds left on the clock?
It depends on what I got on the floor.
Early Bulls roster.
Oh.
Depending on matchups. There's the one play, because you know what? They're expecting your best player to get the ball, depending on matchups. Also, how is he doing in that game?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might see a mismatch all game on one player. 9 times out of 10, right?
Word.
The coach is going to keep that same player guarding that hot man on your team. So the hot man on your team might be averaging 7, 8 points, but you're the hot man that night. You know what I'm saying? You're going to run the play for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That might not be a play for Jordan. So as a coach doing his job, you're going to run the play because you're watching the game and see who's doing what, who has the mismatch.
Yeah, I agree with Kay 100%. That's what I was going to say. Right. It depends on who's out there. It depends on the matchup. It depends on the flow of the game. Because every game has a different rhythm to it. Every game has a different rhythm to it. So I need to see who they have out there. I need to make sure I'm assessing what guys do I need. Because, there's sometimes you have guys who may not play a lot because of a matchup, but he may be my best passer or my best screener. So they're like, why am I putting this guy in the game now? Because if I really need a hard screen for someone to come off, like, I got to make sure I have my best screener, my strongest guy there.
Yeah.
Where we go run something runway and the decoy's coming the other way and we kicking it and we getting a wide open look. So it's about, so you want to make sure you're drawing up something.
Right.
Based on all of those factors that Kate
and that's how you
said.
throw a defense off. You throw a defense off like that. Because defense like this, who this dude? He ain't play all game. They don't know that play, seriously, that play might be designed for him and what he could do in that situation.
Yeah.
Hey, G.
Throw them off with that.
You on mute. Hold on. You on mute. Hold up.
Yeah, I said, I want to know what defense they running first off. Like, of course, if we coming out of timeout, I ain't going to know what defense. So I'm going to tell my team if they're in man defense, we running this. And if they're in, zone, we going to run this. I'm definitely going to ISO my best player, but I'm also going to screen for some other players. I figured I would try a play at first, like something where a back door where I could try to get something easy. Yeah. But that's just a decoy play. You know what I'm saying?
I like the back door. I like the easy bucket.
I try the back door first to the best player to the ISO if you run out of time, but I'm screening for my best shooter outside of that.
I want to talk about
3 options on the board.
I want to talk about one of the best kept secrets in Scottie Pippen. And as we transition, drafted 1987, first round, 5th pick overall.
So true.
Hold on, from Central Arkansas. First of all, the high school name was Hamburg, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Central Arkansas.
60 niggas live in that town.
Look. And he was selected by the Seattle Supersonics at that time.
So, they traded him. Draft, they traded.
I'm going to say this. Did we think Scottie Pippen would be what he evolved into to what he became?
No.
Nobody can see that
first.
Who?
I'm going to go to you, K, first. Go ahead.
All right. I don't think so. I think he would have been a decent player, but top 50 player of all time, nah. Reason being because you played with someone that was arguably the best athlete of all time that made you better. It might not have even been in you to even have the drive, but to be on the same court as somebody took you under their wing to make you better.
Right.
And you don't become a top 50 player of all time. If you become an 8-time All-Star, if you become one of the best to ever have done it, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He'd have been good, but not know the level where he's at now. Definitely not. He would have been a Hall of Famer.
What you think, JP?
I don't think we would have seen, like Kay said, I don't think we would have seen top 50 player. I think we would have seen an all-star player though. Like I feel like he would have been an all-star. Don't get me wrong. Some of his best work came when Mike was out. Like, but I'm gonna say this though. It's about systems and styles. Scottie's game fits the triangle.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it takes someone innovative like Phil to say, I'm not having a problem putting the ball in a forward's hand.
Right.
Running offense to make decisions.
I can run the point too. I can look over the defense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He could run the point, look over the defense, lock up the other team's best offensive player. So other coaches and then still get buckets on his own. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was in a good situation with a team because think about it like this. When you saw Scotty as good as he was, you didn't see Scotty at his best in Houston. You saw Scotty at his best in Portland.
Yes, I agree.
Because in Portland, when he had James Stoudemire, Brian Grant, even though Sabonis was older, Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, they could do so much. He could do so much more.
That was a dope team.
And how they speak the floor and attack each team. Like, you saw that in Scotty in Portland. They had a good run. They could have beat the Lakers.
They had a dope run.
Close. They was this close.
Dope run.
And let's not forget, the reason that they got to that point was a byproduct of what Scotty was doing on that team. Right. And this is him 13 years in the league. So I don't want to sit here and say I don't think we get top 50 player.
No.
Yeah.
But I think systematically he was it was just like the perfect mix, the perfect marriage. Like,
go ahead, Kay.
Go ahead, Kay.
The triangle offense, we call it Doug Collins didn't like the triangle offense.
That's a fact.
But the triangle offense was a play that got everybody involved. So you're not gonna average 30 in that triangle offense. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get involved, and that's what it was. The triangle offense was great for Pippen, especially because Pippen was a great facilitator. Great. He knew how to break down the defense. Yeah. He was so dope. That was perfect for, like you said, system-wise, that was perfect for Pippen, man. Pippen, yeah, but like you said, as far as accolades now, definitely not. Maybe one ring if he later on in his career, if he teamed up with someone, but 6, definitely not.
I'm gonna say this: when you play better when you're comfortable, and when I say that, I think there's a part that we're missing, and I think it has to factor in because throughout this whole time with Mike having the success early in college, early on in his career, as we're talking now, I think the relationship with his pops was pivotal, and because you know how it is when you have that comfort level, and I'm gonna go to you on this, G, that comfort level, and we can see it over the years with his pops before the death and everything. But what do you think? Do you think his relationship with his pops was an influence on his early success in his career?
Yeah, so I want to get one line off about the Scotty thing before we go there. The one thing I want to say is that, like, it's kind of like Klay Thompson to Steph Curry. And it's like Klay Thompson was already a good player, and he would have been a good player without being next to Steph Curry. But would he be as great of a shooter if he wasn't in practice every day, in games every year with the best shooter on earth?
He'll still be a great shooter, but he would not have 3 championships.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
I don't know, okay.
But I mean, not only the accolades as well as the game, the fundamentals. You're in practice with this person every day, seeing what they do to be great. So
on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to say about the Scottie Pippen thing, he would have definitely been great, but being next to the greatest only made him great. In terms of his father's relationship, I don't have any sons, and I always wanted to have a son so that I could literally teach him to play sport. Like that was one of the biggest reasons. And his dad put so much work into the sons. You saw the story about him and his brother and how they were athletes. Like the family were athletes, and he pushed them, and he always made everything competitive between them. So like I think he put that early edge in his sons as well as Mike as well, because they speak of Larry being better than Mike, even Mike has spoke on this. That's why he wears number 23, because it's half of 45, which is Larry's number. But either way, the dad walked through every road with him. You've seen him from day one, of him being a young baseball player to all the way till he died, like courtside and just, so I think
he was a day one. He was like a day one.
Like that's another thing, to have a black man with his black father be there for his whole run, that's a big like it's a powerful message for us as like people, you know, like so that was big for him, yo, for real. And losing him was even more painful, you know, like it made it that much more painful because he was that much more attached. And his dad was a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? Now he had to walk through this process without, you know, that person that, you know, you when you're a kid and you have a parent that's watching you play a sport, you just want to see them, you be there to witness you do something good, let alone be the greatest basketball player ever. So like, you know.
Well, let me do this. Shout out to everybody tuning in on the YouTube Live Afterthought Podcast. We still here. We got a lot to go right now. We got my guy K Smith in the building, UGK in here, Smith Gang Comedy, Talk Smack live each and every Wednesday. He got the Sunday nights coming up where he's gonna be doing the sports with the cash prizes. You want to tune in. I got my guy JP in the building. He's in the crib right now. He's got growing the beard right now, holding it down. He's a constant co-host on here with me all the time. Shout out to Tiv Tonto on the check-in. And I got my brother, Chicago Bulls aficionado, if you want to call him one of those dudes.
Aficionado.
In here, being a Michael Jordan fan. But this is a perfect segue. Dennis Rodman. And I'm going to say it like this. I play basketball. And I feel like Dennis Rodman's impact on the game. I just want to start with that first before we dissect Dennis Rodman as a player and then his impact on the Bulls. I'm going to go back Dennis Rodman because it took me some researching when I was growing up to know that before Dennis Rodman got to the Bulls, Dennis Rodman was a small forward, put the ball on the deck, a pivotal part of the Detroit Pistons winning 2 back-to-back championships. But he played a different position, so it looked a little different. But I can relate to the Chicago Bulls Dennis Rodman because I played basketball in high school. I played basketball a little bit of college. I've even played, you know, urban league, corporate league, you know, those leagues around the city with ringers. And Dennis Rodman is the guy that if you take him out of that equation, you don't win. You don't win those second set of championships, in my opinion. Because he's the glue guy. And he's slept on because you sit here and you might think, oh, he ain't going to score. I've seen Dennis Rodman in that run, in that late 90s run, easily have games where he averaged 12, 15 points a game on top of having 15 rebounds and having an impact on the game. So for me, I loved seeing the episode on Dennis Rodman and how they show love to him. And the craziness about Rodman, of course, with the whole, with the wedding dress. But what's y'all take on Dennis Rodman as the player and as the person and how he affected the Bulls?
I'll go first. I think what I loved about him was the fact that he didn't try to impress Mike or Scotty. He was himself, which is very important. He came there, he had his craziness going on or whatever, but he still was a workaholic. You know, if you look at the thing, he still worked hard. The wedding dress and all that was his personal life. Was it a distraction? Somewhat, it was. But when it came to a common goal, which was to win championships, he was on board. You know what I'm saying? It was a few infractions, whatever, but they know what they were getting. You know what I'm saying? They know what they were getting. Well, Phil got Robin. They sat down and they had a talk. Phil knew what kind of guy he had. Phil was great at dealing with egos. You know what I'm saying? Which made him, Phil Jackson probably the top 3 great coaches of all time because he dealt with that ego. It was big. Right. Dennis Rodman had a different hindsight on everything. Remember, Dennis had a crazy past. Came to the Bulls, he just wanted to win. You know? So the work ethic was there, and Dennis wanted to win championships. And he separated that outside lipstick, all that wild shit, Madonna, getting all these different STDs. Great for the game of basketball, whatever. He actually changed a lot as far as, you know, popularity as well. Rodman was very popular as well. Remember, how many guys right now in the league only average 8 points and 50 really got their own sneaker? You know what I'm saying? The Worms. Come on. You know, so he was a great marketable tool. He was a great marketable tool and a great NBA player and a well-deserving Hall of Famer.
What you think, JP?
For sure. I think the thing about Rodman, which I find so fascinating, is how when G talked about, like, I just want to say real quick, when G talked about like Mike's relationship with his father, and K touched on Rodman's past, you see how they, like, I just want to remind people, there's no blueprint for success. Like, it starts with what you have inside of you. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what someone may look like or how they may talk. If you have a common goal to win and a common goal to achieve, there's nothing that's going to stop you unless you try to stop yourself from attaining those things. And I salute Rodman for doing that, because you realize Rodman didn't get out of college till he was in his mid-20s. Like, It wasn't like Rodman was
23, 24.
23, 24. It wasn't like Rodman was 19, 20.
He's older.
He went to a situation, and that's the other thing, too. The thing that shapes these guys, we talked about it earlier, leadership, veterans. See, he had Chuck Daly. He walked into a locker room with Chuck Daly, with Isaiah Thomas.
So he had a squad.
Like, he had vets, and he had Hall of Fame coaching that instilled in him what it takes to win. And they held him down, and he was comfortable being that. People forget that the Spurs have been so solid for so long that when he went to the Spurs, it was just pre-Popovich. We talking about Brian Hill days.
Thanks.
We talking about Coach Hill days.
Before.
This is before Tim Duncan. This is before, like, let's be clear. This is before
Benny Del Negro days.
Del Negro. Yo, Sean Elliott was hurt for a while. Like, the Spurs were all over the place.
D-Rob.
Yeah.
Let me get my Robin. So the one thing I want to say is that, too, big fan of the whole team. I remember having, me and Joe had posters up of like Jordan, Rodman, Pippen. Right? And Pippen was just such a big, Rodman was just such a competitor. Like, he wasn't the tallest guy in the court, but he went that extra length to kind of go out his way to get rebounds and play defense on the biggest guys. I've seen him contain Shaq and play good defense on Karl Malone, some of the biggest, baddest guys in the game, you know, like, and Joe was right that, like, it started back in when he was on the Pistons, like, before he had the colorful hair. But that Rodman on the Bulls was just a superstar, you know, like, the different color hair, the girls, they touched on him wanting to leave for 48 hours, you know, like, we definitely can speak on that. Like, I just want to say, as a coach, I'm going to let you go, JP. Let me say this, like, as a coach, if one of my players decide he want to disappear for 2 days
and not go to practice,
I don't know if he's still going to be on the team, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, Phil Jackson as a Zen master was able to tame and put that guy's brain in the right place when he needed it to, and he delivered over and over. So that's the one thing that, like, they could say what they want about Rodman off the court.
Shout out to Tip on the check-in.
Couldn't touch him, all right?
But
before he went there.
To that point, that also is a reflection of Mike's leadership. Remember, Mike flew to Vegas
to get him.
Banged on the door.
Facts.
And was like, get your ass up out of here. Remember, Carmelo like you said it.
Yeah.
It was like, I opened the door, and Michael Jordan, like, I'm sitting there, and Michael Jordan's at the door, and he's like, we got to go. Like, see, that speaks on the type of leadership and understanding of people, like you said, G, to your point, that Phil had, that Mike had as well. And how much, and again, the mindset and the desire of winning. If you really, really, really know that this is what you are here for, sometimes you have to let people be themselves. We got to give Rodman credit for all those things too. Rodman was down with the NWO. We all grew up in the 90s, and everybody used to watch wrestling. Like, let's keep it 100. Rodman was NWO for life. Like,
well, listen.
Like, culturally, his like, what he did culturally, he was so ahead of his time too, because he understood what he was doing in the whole basketball sense, But he was doing things, the dresses, all of that stuff. That's getting the cover of People magazine. He's in NWO and wrestling circles, and kids, all of us is like, oh shoot, like he was revolutionary to a certain extent and ahead of his time as far as like what he knew to not only market himself, like you talked about with the Worms, Kay. Like,
well, hold up. Let me say this. I'm gonna say this. Rodman definitely was so integral in a lot of ways. It sparked a lot. He was the type of guy that could do anything. He you know, but at the same time, he had that Detroit Pistons DNA. And it's a perfect segue, and I'm gonna bring it to UK. There was a transition that happened for Jordan. He gets the MVP in '88. He's got the Craig Elo shot. He's everything is looking good for Jordan. You like the Bulls about to bring home a chip right now. And then he runs into the Detroit Pistons. What do you think it was that helped him get through, not only dealing with it, but getting through the Detroit Pistons?
I think Mike's mindset was, it was just winning. You know, it was winning. You know, Detroit Pistons, they cheated. They cheated, man. They cheated. It was bullshit how they say tough basketball.
You gotta explain that. What do you mean they cheated?
When I say cheated, where you know they couldn't
basketball.
No. They couldn't listen. They couldn't guard him on a official playing D. They couldn't guard him. So the excuse was bully ball, 80s ball. No. They beat his ass. Jordan was so persevered. Seriously, Jordan was so persevered on winning. He kept going at him. But Jordan took it personal.
Okay.
Jordan took it personal. It just wasn't them walking off the court. Jordan took it personal to where they were dirty ball players. Jordan did not like them personally. Huh?
Yeah, it was dirty.
No. For the 2 years, Jordan was like, yo, what's going to be done? Jordan rules and all that. They got his own rules. You know you great when you got your own rules. It's like the Bill of Rights. You know what I'm saying? You're going to add 2 more? You know what I mean? Jordan persevered, and he said, you know what? That's the difference between, I always bring LeBron in it because that's the comparison now. LeBron and Jordan. Jordan kept going with the same team he kept going with for the past 2 years, and finally they won. He didn't ask for help. He kept going. That's the difference between Michael Jordan. That makes him once again the GOAT. You know?
I'm gonna say this to Kay's point. The mindset was different, but I think it goes back to a lot of things we talked about earlier. I think it's just in Mike's DNA, his foundation. Like when we talked about his relationship with his pops, having his pops always around, saying, you got to be better. You got to be tougher. He was coached by Roy Williams. Like he had Roy Williams as an assistant, but he had Dean Smith. Like he had Hall of Fame people coaching wise around him, and he had a Hall of Fame father and mother and family and foundation that says you have to keep working even harder. You have to not say this is enough. If you want to be great, how do you choose to challenge yourself? I think Mike had a lot of outlets too, which I wish he talked about more. He had a lot of outlets where he could go to address, to release, to even find motivation where he made it up sometimes, as we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Right.
But people don't understand the importance of having that in life in general. But when you're in that position, like to have positive reinforcement, to have people challenge you, to sit here and say, nah, that ain't it. I'm not stopping. I'm gonna keep going harder.
That's a perfect segue because I'm gonna say this. There's one player in particular in the 1990 that early run that I feel doesn't get enough credit, and I'm gonna get some uproar for this. But B.J. Armstrong,
Benjamin Armstrong.
You're right, Joe.
Can I tell you why? Let me say this. B.J. Armstrong wore what? Number 10, right? Was it number 10?
That was Benjamin Armstrong, baby.
I remember Bulls versus Lakers on Sega Genesis. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Yo, they had BJ Armstrong as a light-skinned dude. First of all, he was a black dude. Second of all,
Your complexion. He's your complexion, man.
yo, BJ Armstrong, and I'm gonna get flack for this because this is the point I'm getting. Played like Isaiah Thomas.
Nah.
Now,
Point guard.
No.
style.
Made the same-
No.
He was
same
scoring.
No.
He could shoot the
No.
three.
no,
BJ
Yo.
Armstrong rating was a 65 on NBA Live, man.
Joe, come on, Joe. Joe,
65, man. Nigga,
Yo.
nigga higher than
Listen.
that. Maybe
Armstrong
it's
know-
had Isaiah Thomas
you know-
like skills. That's
you
all
know
I'm
who
saying.
doesn't get credit?
He can
I'm gonna say
score.
this real quick.
BJ Armstrong
I'ma
can
say this.
score.
one-time
You know
All-Star.
who doesn't get credit from those teams?
Who?
Craig Hodges.
Yeah.
Craig Hodges.
Okay,
A lot
why
of
you
his
looking at-
political
Hey.
stances. A lot of his political stances threw people off. But that man could
Okay.
shoot it. He was tough. He didn't back down. And the
BJ
problem is
Armstrong
that
would bust Craig Hodges' ass though.
Yeah.
You got blackballed, man.
So
Yeah.
the one thing,
What you gonna say, G?
I'm glad you brought up Craig Hodges because you reminded me of like the All-Star game and how he was winning 3-point contests and like
yeah.
he was a big role. He wore a dashiki to the White House. He stayed black through the whole thing. No matter who he was.
He said
That's
stay black.
one.
Stay black.
You know, for real. He never went Hollywood on us. That's
Never.
one.
He did. That's a fact, Jimmy.
But two, Joe said it earlier, like that was like one of Jordan's biggest years of like, what is it, 1988, where he's like the MVP, the defensive player of the year, and then the dunk contest. Like, and like, I just wanted us to stop right there, like, because that moment of the dunk contest was just like some of those dunks he was doing. Did he have
I
the
gotta
clean
stop
on?
Great. Jamon's on the live YouTube. He said Jordan had the refs too, though.
Oh, Jordan definitely had the refs.
Well,
From
yeah.
BP,
Well,
The
he a
refs
superstar.
said Jordan rules too. All right,
He a
definitely.
superstar. He a superstar.
Definitely know that. But I just want to say that, like, he just something about the way he was taking off. He was just so iconic with just this different aerial display. You know, like Dominique was bringing these powerful windmills. You know, like, and it's just Jordan did it with the tongue out. He did it from the foul line. He had the chain on. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, yo,
drug dealer
what was
chain.
like
He
all
had
the
the
Most cats, most
Yeah, the
cats
chain
wore
is
the chain
chain.
back then, though.
facts.
Most cats wore the chain.
Kenny Walker.
Nigga had the pain in the
Kenny
Makai Pfeiffer.
Skywalker. Shout out to Kenny Skywalker. With the high top and the
Word. Yes. He
Shout out to
listen.
Kenny Skywalker.
Kenny Skywalker. Nigga won an 89 dunk contest.
So look. So
What
okay.
kicks he had on?
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say what kicks he got.
What kicks he had on in that dunk contest? Okay,
Threes.
the threes, white,
White,
The white
cement threes.
the white.
Now hold on.
88.
Wait. Look. Did y'all really think Spud Webb was gonna beat Jordan in the dunk contest that year?
Spud won off
He caught us
Yeah,
off guard.
seven.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna go to K first. Then I'm gonna go to G. Go ahead.
Spud was 5'7". He won off of excitement. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Spud is a small time college guy. Spud went to Tennessee
ahead.
Chattanooga, right?
Talk about it.
And Spud was a decent ball player, but Spud could jump. Him being 5'7" had a lot to do with it. Because his dunks there was regular dunks to a nigga that's 6'8", but he was 5'7" doing them.
Yo, when he did that 360 though, okay?
Yeah.
When he did that 360.
Change the game. I know.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I know.
JP said, "Come on."
Yo,
Go ahead, JP. Now, what you think?
Go, G.
Wait.
Go,
Great,
G.
JP.
nah, I just wanted to say that Jordan had averaged 35 that year too on 53% shooting. Like that guy was crazy. But go ahead, JP, with the dunk contest.
I think what Mike did, like literally the dunk contest, he literally soared after that moment. He literally soared over everyone. Like what it did was it cemented him in everything. So like the McDonald's commercials, the Michael Jackson videos. Like, I mean, I think while we knew he was that guy, like literally to take flight, and you think about everything, and if you think about the time in the 80s, everything was all about like people going to space. Everything was all futuristic.
Back to the Future type shit.
Back to the Future, Star Trek. Everything was supposed to be all like out of this world.
Perfect timing, man.
Everything was supposed to be out of this world. So literally, what he did was like he defied gravity. So like, because Mike did it at that time.
Well, I'm gonna say this though. Mike was that dude, and I'm gonna go to K on this because it's another good segue. Scottie Pippen was also that dude. Do y'all remember the Gillette deodorant commercial with Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley?
No.
Scottie Pippen was in like a cave on some like the mummy type shit, and he was in there and he was looking for shit with like some like. Scottie Pippen had commercials too, and I want to go to you, Kay. When Scottie in particular became the man, well, let's just say Scottie was on that rising stage.
He's an all-star.
Wait. He gets injured, and the Bulls is already acting funny style. You're not sure if his contract situation. You're not sure if he's going to resign, what he's going to do. I want to talk to the notion of: do you feel Scottie was right for holding out, or do you feel like Scottie, knowing what you're getting paid, you just got hurt, you recovering, do you feel like you should be a little selfish and be like, yo, y'all got to take care of me before I come back?
No, Scottie was wrong in that. And then I'm gonna tell you why I think he was wrong, because you signed the contract as business. You signed the contract. If it was 5 years, 20 million, you knew before you were signing it, it's not what you're worth now. You thought you were worth that amount when you signed the contract. There's a duty to fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
You could have got surgery in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Your team needs you. It was selfish.
But hold on. Didn't he make a notion, Kay, of like, I'm gonna wait to the end of the season to get my surgery because I don't want it to affect? Or was he doing that because
the season was over?
Joe,
the season was over.
He said he wasn't going. He said he wasn't going to mess up his summer.
Yeah.
The team.
Yeah. So the season was over. Yeah.
It was over.
The season was over, so he basically said, "I'm gonna chill on the beach and wear my Jesus sandals." And they come back. That was selfish, because you know what? Jordan said it. We got a goal we got to do. Let's win these chips. It was very selfish. It was super selfish, whatever. So, but I understand where he's coming from. But you signed that contract. It was business. It was business. You know what you was playing for.
I'm gonna go last. Go ahead.
Now, all I wanted to say was, to Kay's point, we also got to consider the timing of how the league was too, like the way negotiations worked and all of these things. A lot of people now are saying, "Yo, Scottie was underpaid." True, he definitely was underpaid. Scottie signed that deal and he talked about it. I'll be honest with you too. If I was Scottie, what he should have done is he realized. He signed a 6-year deal at 18 mil. 7 years. 7 years, 18 mil. After he re-signed, and when Mike is gone, is that not the perfect time to renegotiate? Because you're coming off of 3 championships. You're coming off of 3 championships. You're coming off a dream team. You're the man right now, all-star. Like 3rd in MVP that year. Why not sit here and say, before anything happens, renegotiate my deal? Because at that time, especially in 94, 95, everyone knew he was underpaid.
Except Patrick Ewing. Except Patrick Ewing.
To have the most leverage then. He had the most leverage then, and then did nothing with it. So to wait later and then be upset, then that's where I have to side with Kay and say he's selfish. Because he had that opportunity right there. Everything. All the leverage in front of him to be like, yo, pay me. And then he would have no choice but to. And he didn't do it.
That's
So
facts.
for him to do it after the fact,
You ready? Y'all ready?
yeah.
K, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I just want to say that's the first thing I want to say. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm gonna make a point that's gonna rock that shit right out. First thing first. We all got jobs, right?
Facts.
Imagine if you. All right, you're right. Fact.
Good call, Ken. Good call, Ken.
But in the time we all had jobs, imagine if us get hurt on the job, right? Just that fast, we'd be ready to call out. That's not selfish of us, right?
Okay.
Because we want to take time off to take care of our bodies. That's number one. Number two, Scotty don't owe them shit. All right, they knew they was fucking him when they put that contract on the table from day one. Oh,
once you sign a contract, it's a contract.
I agree.
It's a contract, you know.
Let me ask you a question. Did he violate his contract? He didn't violate his contract because you're allowed to get surgery at any time under contract and sit out at any time. So he didn't violate his contract. He did exactly what he is capable of doing. He used his leverage. Like you said, that word leverage, that was the only leverage he had.
But G, he had leverage before, bro.
The last thing I want to say is, we're not talking about Scottie Pippen who just got there. We're talking about Scottie Pippen that been there how many years already at this time? 7 years? No, it was before the 7. 7.
Not 7.
It was 6 years.
6 was his rookie contract?
Nah, it was
renewed.
Nah, he's been there. Yeah, this is the second deal. So he's on like year 9. He's been on the team for like 9 years now.
Facts.
9,
so
10 years.
I've been on your team for 9 years, busting my ass through injuries.
Busting your ass.
5 championships, and y'all gonna tell me I'm selfish because I want to sit my ass down to rest at this point? I give a fuck. Like, yeah, that's where.
All right, so wait.
Selfish because I want to say that like these players put their bodies on the line.
Yeah, but you know what though? Pippen already said that he could have gotten surgery. Winning is a common goal. I understand where you're coming from. But you know what though?
He got his surgery though.
He said he could, but he got it afterwards though.
When it was best for him to get his surgery.
It wasn't best for him to wait. It wasn't best for him to wait.
I agree, but I'm saying that it is his decision that he can decide when he.
And he still came back with no money.
No,
right?
That's the problem.
Still came back with no money.
So wait,
let me
ask you one question.
No more money, rather.
Wait, okay. So then, if he made the same amount of money and he played 30 less games, who really won in that situation? He did. He got his money without playing 82, and he got his ring, and he got his accolades. So
but you know what though? When it comes to basketball in a team sport,
right,
there might be an asterisk next to that chip, nigga, because you didn't play in it.
So hold up.
He played.
Hold up. I got this.
Hey, he missed 30 regular season games.
I know.
52
No.
games left.
I'll put you on that. But I got
52. Now all of a sudden, Scotty didn't play in the playoffs. He didn't go on this run. Come on, my man. Like,
hold up.
We get too selfish about our opinions about what he made his decision.
You know.
I agree with that. But I think he picked the wrong time to use the leverage. To my point, like I feel like if we're going to like, it's two different things. I don't disagree with him taking that decision if he felt that was physically what's best for him. But my problem is that if he was motivated for the money and he wanted to use the leverage for contracts, I think he waited too late, and that was not the best time for him to do it. Facts. So in that sense, I think he was wrong when he could have done it during the time which I talked about, and they would have had to cash him out. So I see both sides. It's like
they forewarned him. They forewarned him before he signed the shit. You sure you want to sign a contract? Pippen said, I want to play it safe. Big ass no. I want to play it safe.
Hey, he was in the interrogation room when he signed that.
Hold up.
And that nigga signed a fucking baseball contract. 7 years, nigga. Fuck is he, A-Rod?
Nah. He was bugging.
He ain't getting no A-Rod money though.
Hell no.
Marvin. He was like,
Hold
yo,
up.
can I call my family?
A-Rod got that in one season.
I know. One
I
game.
want to drop
One
it.
game.
Yo, fact, and wait, and then Jordan is my man, $100,000.
Yeah.
And as a teammate, I would be upset if my teammate sat out and I needed him. I'm not even trying to pull that card, right?
Of course, that was a bitch move.
But I think it is like crazy for a man to turn to another man and be upset that he's not playing, and he's getting paid $2 million for that season, and I'm getting paid $30 million. That means
That's true.
I better multiply for $30 million.
But he chucked them.
I'm looking at you like you better turn into 5 other players for $30 million. You know what I'm saying?
He agreed in the contract. It's when it comes to
people.
business, man. It's business, man.
I agree
But
with
hold
you,
up.
man.
I want to drop this on y'all. Out of all the teams, and this goes back to my hashtag the last, out of the last teams that the Bulls faced in the finals,
Okay.
I want to go to y'all first. I'm going to go to JP, and I'm going to go to K, and I'm going to go to Gray. I'm going to start it off. Who do you think, and those tuning in, drop a comment right now. Who do you think had the best chance of beating the Bulls? I'm going to kick it off. To me, the best team that had the shot at beating the Bulls was the Utah Jazz, in my opinion. I think they had the all-around roster. I think they had the coach, Jerry Sloan. I think they had the altitude with the fucking, you go into Utah, I can't breathe. I got to play there 4 games. But on top of having the best team, they had an MVP. Karl Malone was the MVP. And I think at the end of the day, you having that Stockton Malone, I ain't going to talk about Hornacek because he don't get enough credit. He was undersized as a 2-guard. Guarded Jordan, first of all. But the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, they had 2 chances to win the chip. It's just the greatness of Michael Jordan. There was a couple defining moment plays, whether you could look at the steal in 98, or you could look at the game winner where he hit Brian Russell in 97. But I think it was Jordan that separated the reason why the Jazz couldn't win. But the Jazz, to me, came close. All right, I'm going to go to go ahead.
I got an unconventional answer because I think the team that was going to beat Jordan is the team that Jordan didn't play in the finals. I'm going to go with that 95 Houston Rockets team.
Jamon said that in the comment. Go ahead.
Huh?
Jamon, my guy Jamon, comedian out of Baltimore, DMV area, he said the same thing. He said the Rockets. But go ahead, Jay.
Oh, the reason why I'm going with the Rockets is because at that time, I think the Rockets had. You saw how Drexler struggled when he was in Portland against the Bulls. They have no shot.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. The Bulls ain't have anybody that was going to stop the dream.
No one.
Okay.
Anybody.
Nobody.
And I'm telling you this right now. I think guys like Mario Elie, Mad Max, like Sam Cassell, Kenny Smith, they had the guys who I think could shoot it and put it on the ground a little better. And Mad Max was someone, he was crazy.
But Mad Max,
he remember. Huh?
I don't think Mad Max is playing on a 9-5 team. Because
he's on the 94 team, though.
94 team, yeah, 94 team. Yeah.
I don't know if he's on 95, but
because Drexler can. That team, yeah, definitely. That core definitely, I think, would have had given Mike the most difficult and toughest time in the finals because every time they have to double down on him. Matchups.
Every time they have to double down, that matchup would have been difficult for Chicago. It would have been very difficult for them to overcome. So if we were still in that era, I'm going to go with the 94-95, those Rockets team would have probably given Mike the heart.
What you think, Kay? Which team? And I'll even open it up. I'm going to say 90-98 even. Since JP took it with the Rockets, I did the Jazz. What do you think? Which team would have won a chip? Not like come close, like nah. If they would have played them or if they would have got another shot, they would have won. Who do you think, Kay?
You said 90?
90-98, that whole historic run. Which team in that era gave them the best shot at winning the chip. It's just
So West Coast teams, right?
East or West, it doesn't really matter. Just which team you feel had the best shot at beating the Bulls.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Detroit Pistons. Detroit.
Now you saying 90s Detroit, or you saying like
you said 90 to 98?
90 Detroit is different from 88, 89 Detroit.
Yeah, they still had a squad, bro.
Squad. Remember they won. They won 89 and 90. They won.
Right. But I'm saying
back, they won 89 and 90. 1990 Detroit Pistons, because Detroit Pistons, I'm gonna segue. Their role players were different. They had a role player situation where you had the grandfather, you had the uncle, you had the stepfather, you had the two cousins, you had everybody in pockets, man. That's why they're so great. And Chuck Daly was a damn genius, man.
Yep.
He knew how to play Mike. Chuck Daly was a different type of leader, man. Detroit definitely well, they did get the Bulls hell, brother. But that's a team, I think, 1998, definitely gave definitely.
What you think, G?
I'm going to drop a couple quick gems, all right? So,
don't say Seattle. Don't say Seattle because that Gary Payton shit was fun.
K took it back. That was the best throwback team that they probably, faced in their playoffs that definitely could have beat them. In that 90s year specifically. The Houston Rockets, I totally agree with that team, especially Elijah Moore-led.
That was a great pick, JP. Word.
Was a great pick. As soon as he said, I was like, "Yep, that was it."
Wait, which one, JP? But I didn't mean to cut you off, G.
Okay.
If you pick one of the two, and he's harping on it, which one?
I'm telling you this. I'm going to take that 94 team.
The one with Drexler?
Drexler was down 5.
I'm going to take that 94 team when they first won because they had. Huh?
Drexler was on the 94 team.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't. Not 94.
Drexler won both.
No, he wasn't.
I think
look it up.
Look it up. Drexler was on that team.
Nah. Drexler got 1 ring. He ain't got 2 rings.
Check the stats. Uh-oh.
I can check.
Wait, what year? 94?
Yeah, Drexler wasn't on that team.
When they beat the Knicks in the finals.
Drexler wasn't on that team. Now 5. Remember, that's why Vernon Maxwell got mad because we get no playing time.
It's okay. I got the stat checker for us.
All right, so Clyde Drexler was on 94, 95.
I told you.
One chip. K. Smith is right.
On 94, 95 team. So that's the team I'm taking. My fault. That was when he played Orlando. My fault. Not when he played the Knicks. When he played Orlando. That's my fault.
That's not, so that's...
Well, wait, you talking about Mario
Ellie? Wait, time out. Now for the... Oh, so, okay. So
not when they played the Knicks.
Team, then.
Yes, 9-5 team. I said 9-4. I meant 9-5. That's me on the wrong year.
Okay.
I meant to say that.
No. Hold on. I got you, Jay. I got you. You talking to Kenny Smith. You talking to Sam Mack. You talking to Robert Aurier, Mario Ellie.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Drexler was on 95, 96. We got to bring it back. He was.
No.
On the second championship.
No, 9-4, 9-5. Remember, Jordan came back 9-6, 9-7, 9-8.
So he was on the second and not the first.
But what I'm talking about was when Jordan, that 95 team, when Jordan lost to Orlando before Orlando got ran through by Houston. That's what I meant to say. So that Houston Rockets team, I thought was. That's the one. Came up for you. I said 94. I meant 95. When they played against when Dre was giving Shaq that work. Shaq that work in the finals.
It's all right, JP. You've been dropping accurate facts all day. Don't worry.
You good. I'm good
on my block.
Y'all, I want to say I'm definitely on the Houston Rockets though. Utah definitely was like.
Utah was tough.
Super close, man.
That was right there. And you said the Supersonics, that was the worst team. They probably had the farthest shot in the world.
If Utah had another scorer.
Time out. That left shrimp, Hawkins, Xavier McDaniel.
Nah.
They
They had old Sam Perkins. They had old Sam Perkins.
Sam Perkins.
Old Sam Perkins.
Sam I am. Lefty. They had Sean Kemp.
Wait, what's the coach? Nate McMillan?
George Carl.
Nah, George Carl. George Carl.
No, he turned into a coach. Nate McMillan.
He
was on that team?
Was he on that team? I don't think he was on that team. Was he?
He might have been.
But
he was.
He was on the team for a good few years.
That's why I said he was a player. He was a player.
He was on the team for a good team, few years. Yeah. Hershey Hawkins used to have the jumper.
Hawkins was that shooter. He was their shooter.
Hawkins used to have that jumper.
Hershey Hawkins.
Can we just dismiss the fact that Portland and the Lakers wasn't a serious threat in the early '90s championship run? Or do you
definitely the Rasheed that Rasheed Wallace Pippen team. Bonzi Wells, Rasheed, Pippen.
Yeah, that was after. That was after Jordan.
No. I'm saying versus Jordan in the early championship run.
You're talking about Cliff Robinson.
Early run? Oh, no.
Cliff Robinson, Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter.
Jerome Kersey.
Jerome Kersey.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes, the Lakers and the Portland. Do you think they were a threat at all?
Not the Lakers. Lakers actually, Lakers got Eldon Campbell and Vlade Divac.
Yeah, they was
remember, Lakers won 5 championships from 79 to 88.
Granted, but they was washed by the time they got to Jordan.
Exactly. So from 88 on, they had good teams, but it wasn't winning no chips. Remember,
Van Exel.
Who?
Van Exel.
Oh no, they had 4 All-Stars that year. Kobe, Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones. Who the fourth?
But that wasn't the early. But that wasn't the early Bulls run when Jordan ran into the Lakers, though.
No,
correct.
That's what I said. That crew,
so
like
who was
said,
on the Lakers? Who was on the Lakers when the Bulls ran into them?
That's when Magic is running.
Eldon Campbell, Vlade.
Magic, Eldon Campbell, Vlade Divac, Byron Scott.
Yes.
Who?
Byron Scott. All of those guys.
Oh yeah.
Byron Scott was old.
Yeah.
Niggas had the AARP Byron Scott.
It was the
motherfucking Michael Cooper.
Byron Scott got the fucking
Rambis. Kurt Rambis. Was Kurt Rambis still on the
Nah. He wasn't on those teams.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Out of all of the players in Jordan's successful championship runs, and we got like one more after this, and then we're gonna wrap this up. But before we get to that, what player you think, in your opinion, could kind of be like, damn, when Jordan went against this dude, I don't know. Like in a 7-game series, I'm gonna give it to Jordan, but Jordan got to work for this. I'm gonna come off top and start it. In my opinion, Jordan played a lot of people. Jordan battled against a lot, but in my opinion, I feel like it was the West Coast for Jordan, and I feel like it was certain West Coast teams that gave him a hard time. But to me, I felt like it was the Portland Trailblazers because
that's fair.
They had the depth. Like you said, they had 2 starting 5s. They would throw them at Jordan, hit him try to slow him down. But it would seem like Jordan just was like, I got a second win. I'm going to bust your second team's ass anyway, and I'm going to be in here all game. What do y'all think?
I'm going to go with the Knicks. I'm going with the Knicks. The Knicks, everybody sleep on the Knicks. The Knicks is trash now. But the Knicks gave the Bulls some battles, man.
All right, so hold on. Why you think the Knicks couldn't get it done? What did the Knicks need to get it done to beat the Bulls?
We need to stop Jordan. That's it. So honestly, 80% of the Knicks offense ran through Patrick Ewing.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So their job wasn't offense; it was defense. It was stop Michael Jordan. It sounds unheard of, but it was. What are we going to do to stop Michael Jordan? Their talent offensively was incredible, but it was how do we stop Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
that was what it was.
That was the biggest thing.
What you think, JP?
I agree with Kay. I think the hardest thing was the Knicks stopping Jordan. And if you think about all those years in the 90s, a lot of the draft picks and trades that they made were to get pieces to help try to defend him. Like,
Derek
think
Harper.
about the Derek Harper trade when he was on Dallas and they acquired him.
Yep.
Get in. Remember when they had Rolando Blackman for a while.
You couldn't guard him.
That's a
He
long
couldn't guard him.
Orlando Blackman. God damn.
From Brooklyn too.
We love Starks, but
Facts.
Starks had his up and down. Yo, Starks couldn't keep his composure sometimes. Mentally, he loses
Greg
in the
Anthony
game.
was trash.
The Greg Anthony drafted him out of UNLV. Hubert
In 92.
Davis.
Herb Williams was trash. Oh my God.
Who?
Herb Williams was trash.
I'm so far guard wise.
We talking about guards and forwards to try to defend him.
Derek Harper.
Yeah, I said Derek Harper when he came from Dallas. It was a good move.
What?
Doc Rivers for a while too when Doc was on the Knicks. Like they went with all these different guys trying to be like, we gotta have as much help
I'm
as we
surprised
can.
nobody said the Suns. I'm surprised nobody said the Suns.
Listen,
But that's what I was gonna say. You asked about why the Knicks couldn't win, and that's what I was saying. But as far as the team, I really was gonna say I like the Suns team with
Thunder Dan,
with Dan Marley,
Mark West.
Yeah,
Mark West.
Batman.
I thought
Richard
Barkley
Dumas.
and those guys had a real good shot.
Dope team.
Had a real good shot. And they used
Tom
to
Chambers. Come on, yeah. See my son Tom
you guys
Chambers.
are
He was
avid-
already old, though. Tom Chambers was already old.
Yo, y'all are definitely all Knicks fans, all right? Y'all just giving me a speech on how
We
the
said
Knicks
that.
tried to find somebody to shut down Jordan. And this is the list. Listen to these defensive
Xavier
stops.
It didn't work. I'm not saying it worked, bro. Yo,
Doc Rivers.
I'm not saying it worked. I'm just saying
Hubert
it
Davis. Look, I'm going to give y'all one. Greg Anthony. Like, John Starks. Like, listen to these defensive stoppers. You know, like, when did any of these guys make defensive player of the year or
He said Doc Rivers to shut down Jordan. That's funny.
That's what they wanted. We ain't say it worked. We ain't say it worked.
Yo, I don't remember the Knicks
tried.
firing a guard that was
like
worthy
3 of my
and
uncles trying to guard Jordan. 3 of my uncles trying to guard Jordan.
Jordan jumping over these guys. Like,
God
what are
damn.
these guys?
Remember, Greg Anthony got drafted in 91.
Right.
That's he got drafted in 91 with Larry Johnson.
Was Stacey Augmon was on those teams too, on that Portland team too, right?
Stacey Patton or Stacey Augmon?
Stacey Augmon.
Oh.
Stacey Patton.
Yo,
That's
Indiana, yo, I want to say that Indiana had a nice run. I
They
don't think
did.
they were a championship caliber team, but they were contenders for so long, and like
They were.
they were also
Facts.
in the way of the Knicks, and the Bulls always had to have that running with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It was
I
like
agree.
they had to bump heads with them. But
Those
they
three.
I feel like as great as they played, they never really had those players that were over the top. Like Reggie Miller was a great player, but then he started to deteriorate a little, and the rest of the team was full role players for the most part. We got Mark Jackson kind of late in his career. You got the 2 big boys, the Dale brothers. You know what I'm so it's just like that team had a nice chance at it, but they wasn't even in close to reach.
Nah, they wasn't.
Couldn't cut it. Well, I'm waiting to have the K go. We got to get K back in the live. Afterthought podcast. We've been rocking out. My brother Gray, JP, and K Smith, who will be back before we close this out. I'm gonna say this. Jordan coming back, and if you look at the series, there's one thing that I felt like. I felt like which rotation was better, the 90 to 93 rotation, role players around Jordan, or do you think Jordan's role players in 94 to 97, 98, that whole like
96, 98.
Why? And why?
I'm gonna throw a quick line in there, and then I'm gonna swing it to JP. All right, I'm gonna let you take this one away, JP. The one thing I want to say is that, like, I don't look at Jordan's second team like he had role players, even though
I was gonna say that too.
Those guys in that run are certified stars. You know what I'm saying? And like in the first run, there's just so many guys that like they played their role and they did it well and it got them to championships, but they weren't the stars. JP.
Right.
Nah, I can't. Yo, he took. Yo, I was gonna say the same thing. Yo, G, I was on the same wave. Like that second run of players. Like,
My bad, yo.
Nah, you back?
they
You
were
got the K
certified players.
Yeah.
So, like, all of those guys made good. Like, I don't look at those guys like they didn't make good money and have big moments in the league.
No, I'm not
like,
saying that. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just saying because of that, Joe. That's why I agree with G. Like, I agree with him. Like, it's a different mindset and approach that I have in looking at those guys as well. So I was going to say the same thing. Like, I know you had the Wi-Fi and all that acting up. You back with the Richard Pryor background. I'm gonna swing it. Which roster you feel was better for Jordan role player wise? That first three or second three run was better for Jordan in terms of role player and players around Jordan to win his success. What do you think?
I think the second one because Jordan got older, and I think they depended more. It was now we had to write the truth now because it was that now it took more of a more veteran leadership. So I think the second one was more more pivotal because the first three was they were like younger. He had good players, but that second one, they the guys were a little bit older, and they all came together, and they one common goal. And Jordan, it showed you just the mentality that kind of rubbed off, and being in the second part, all shit he went through before. Just for him to come back from 2 years off to win 3 chips, it's unheard of, man.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Go ahead, G, and then I got a perfect segue before we wrap it up. Last one. Go ahead, G. Go ahead, G.
I just thought as Kay was talking to, I was just thinking about like their accolades and their greatness and where they were in their careers at that time. And like when you eliminate like Jordan and Scottie from both those teams, right? There's so many guys on that second team that are Hall of Fame worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like even Tony Kukoc may be arguably on that, on that ballot one day, like, so it's just.
Man of the year. Man of the year. He getting 20 a game. Coming off the bench.
Hall of Fame from Croatia, though.
Facts.
Yeah, and international experience to put him in.
International player to come in like he did and win the chips and everything.
Hall of Fame NBA? Nah.
Yeah. So when I look back at that first team, and I look past Jordan and Pippen, I'm just saying, like, who is arguably going to be a Hall of Famer? And it's really that Horace Grant piece. Like outside of Horace, I don't know if they're going to put John Paxson, even though he was a great player, and I don't know if Cartwright is going
better than Steve Kerr, though.
Nah.
It's hard to say that.
Kerr, you got to realize, Steve Kerr coming out of Arizona.
4 in a row.
You want 4 in a row.
John Paxson will bust Steve Kerr.
He was second All-American coming out of Arizona, right or wrong, okay?
I'm about to buy a John Paxson.
It was All-American. He wasn't. He went to Arizona, but he wasn't All-American. But that's what the school that recruited him.
Yo, but he ended up coming out. Yo, I think Steve Kerr.
Paxson will bust Steve Kerr's ass.
87.
I think Steve Kerr. I think people forget how good Ron Harper was. People forget how good Ron Harper was when Ron Harper was on the Cavs. People forget.
We're not talking Ron Harper.
No, I'm
Steve Kerr,
just saying.
Paxson. 1-on-1, I got my money on John Paxson.
But Joe, to everybody's point, why that second team was so good, I think people don't realize how much people like Ron Harper the third. Like people don't remember how good. Like you don't remember how nice
Randy Brown.
How nice Ron Harper was.
I'm nice. Dunk contest.
It's
Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, of course Rodman and himself.
We talking about, and it's
time for us to check the stats. Hold up. It's time for us to check the stats.
Go ahead, check the stats, G.
All right. So here's the craziest part of this thing. One, I wanted to say that my vote was Steve Kerr, obviously, because he got 4 rings in a row, went on the coach, got 7 rings. But you want to know what's funny? I was like, I want to know what the stats break down to and say. And it says that Steve Kerr averaged 6 points a game for his career. 6 points.
Trash.
And John Paxson averaged 7.2 points per game.
But here's the deal, though.
Points don't matter. How many years did he play with? How many years did he play with Tim Duncan?
Go ahead, Kay.
That don't really mean nothing because points per game don't really mean nothing. It's what they did for that team.
Both hit big shots.
Steve Kerr was much tougher.
Yeah.
And
he was better. He was better. He's a better passer.
MVP of Charles Barkley, though.
What?
Phoenix versus John Paxson had a MVP caliber team and Charles Barkley as the MVP.
No. He just hit a good shot.
Thank you.
Before. No. He had a good shot. So that's
Curry didn't have a great series. Curry didn't have a great series versus Utah.
He was right at the right time. Jordan passed.
But Curry didn't have a great series versus Utah. That's all I'm saying. It was like more to Paxson, in my opinion. That's all.
Let me ask you a question. Fast forward. Did Ray Allen have a great series against the Spurs?
What'd you say?
Did Ray Allen have a great series against the Spurs? He hit the 3 in the corner.
Right.
He had a good shot. But LeBron had the.
It's debatable, yes.
Yeah. Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr stats. He averaged 45% from the 3-point range for his career, and that is over 16 seasons. That is high. Literally, it might be the highest in NBA history.
All right, so I'm gonna say this because we got to wrap it up.
And Paxson played 10 seasons, by the way. Go ahead.
John Paxson, I'm popping a John Paxson jersey next week during the COVID. We got 6 minutes left.
John Paxson got a brother called Jim Paxson, played for San Antonio, by the way.
That's a fact. That's a fact, Kay. But I got to drop this on us. This is the last one. Who's the matter of fact, fuck it. Who's the Jordan stopper / in your opinion, somebody that guarded him the best? And before we get out of here, I'm going to start it off, in my opinion, by saying Brian Russell. I'm going to tell you why I like Brian Russell. I like Brian Russell's height. Wait, don't laugh at that. I like Brian Russell's go after grit defensive mentality. So I'm not saying he could stop him. Jordan went amazing players. But to stop Jordan, you got to be able to put up some points on the other side of the ball. Brian Russell could score the ball. Am I lying though? So in that Utah series, of course, Jordan scorched everybody else. But if you look at matchups, Brian Russell put up buckets at the same time to match Jordan's greatness. That's all I'm saying. That was the best matchup to me. Even though he lost, ultimately, they lost twice versus the Bulls.
Can I ask you a quick question, though? Before the series of Utah, you heard of Brian Russell?
Oh, go ahead. Perfect segue. Go ahead.
No.
Heard of him?
No.
That's
never heard of him.
Exactly.
Don't know him.
Who do you think? So who do you think, Kay?
Joe was in the league for 14 years before that series, bro. He was in the league for 14 years. So you pick Brian Russell out of all the 14 years? Come on, Joe.
Out of all the players, he went to the finals. Don't name a player that wasn't versus him in the finals. I got to name a finals player that guarded him. It has to be.
Nah, not really.
So who do you think? And then I'm gonna go to JP. Who do you think, Kay?
Let me last. I'm still thinking. I got a couple of.
Yo, I can answer right now.
Go ahead, G.
Nobody. But you know what though? Well, wait, but you know what though? I'm gonna say when I talk
Come
Jordan,
on, Max Kellerman.
when I say when I talk Jordan in defense, though, I think I'm gonna definitely go with just. I would have to say someone on Detroit, and it's probably gonna be Joe Dumars.
Good shit.
Like somebody said that.
Yeah, you took my answer.
When I think about
YouTube Live.
When I think about the only times that I saw anybody stop Jordan or contain him,
yeah,
distance, and
He
that
played
guy,
straight up defense.
that's exactly who I was going to say, G.
Me too. That was one.
That's exactly who I was going to say,
you
G.
picked the right guys for this show. I'm telling you.
You definitely took my answer, G. Wow. With that being said, since Joe Dumars is off the table, man, because I had that whole argument ready to go. Like, and he was undersized, strong, quick.
But that's a good argument. That's a great debate with Joe Dumars, though. I'm not even going to lie.
If your criteria, Joe, is going to be people who played him in the finals.
In the
Not
final.
Interval. Oh yeah, the final.
No, I'm just saying Joe mentioned the finals.
Finals meant more. It was more substantial. It was 4 championships. So the guys that got there was just as important.
Let me tell you something. Jordan tried to front on GP. GP did work against him.
He did. Then he won 2 games.
GP did work against him. We're gonna talk in the finals. I think the best, the hardest I had to see Mike work was those times when George Karl went to the switch with Gary Payton. And if I'm not gonna go with, but Joe Dumars definitely to me was that guy. Gary Payton in the finals. Outside of Gary Payton in the finals, even though it wasn't him by himself, but collectively, I really think what, like, in certain games, the way the Suns defended him, like they had a lot of versatile kind of bodies to throw at him.
Okay.
I'm not saying Dan Marley. I'm not saying Dan Marley's a Jordan stopper.
That left shrimp wasn't shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, nah. But I like the team defense approach.
Was nice, but versus the Bulls, he wasn't shit. He didn't do none of that shit.
But the team defense approach that Phoenix had in some of those games in that series, I think was something I would commend. But individually, it's gonna have to be the glove.
Finals, they put Richard Dumas switching on for him. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Richard Dumas.
Really? But Dumas. But pause. Dumas was he was lengthy.
He was getting dragged. Don't do that. He was getting dragged.
Listen, we just because you understand something. Even when you say the word God Jordan, it's contain him, which means that get him
exactly.
Get him tired.
Yeah. Strip him.
Reggie Miller, sleeper. As far as when they played the finals.
Yep.
Reggie Miller,
yep.
Mark Jackson, they had their own little system, whatever. They couldn't go. He still had fucking 40, 35, but make him tired, make him work, make him run. And then you keep going around.
But they did.
Yo, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Everybody on the YouTube live. We this is only part 1. We only gonna grow. Part 2 is tomorrow night. I got some special guests. I'm trying to bring the squad back right here with some other special guests.
Listen,
so we're gonna take it to the next level.
Good though.
They better know what they talking about.
Hold on. If I bring y'all back and I added another 1 or 2 people, would y'all be down to come back on tomorrow night?
Let's go.
Tomorrow night I can't show them all. So
no. Kay can't be here because Kay got to talk Smack Live. And before we get into shouting it out, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna just let y'all know, appreciate my guys for tuning in. This is the last review on the Afterthought Podcast YouTube Live. It's only part 1. Kay not gonna be here, but I'm gonna bring Gray back. I'm gonna bring JP back. I'm gonna bring 2 more special guests on here to throw a wrench in the game. But Kay, tell them about the show tomorrow. Tell them where to find you, and then we'll let the rest of the guys go before we get out of here.
Tomorrow night, man, call me K Smith for real 14. That's my IG. Facebook is Kareem Smith. You know, that's the whole government. Tomorrow night, I got my show called Talking Smack with K Smith. I got Joe. Actually, Joe, you a guest on my show tomorrow.
I know. I'm gonna be on there.
Joe's the guest. This nigga need to get his calendar. I got Q Brooks. I got Courtney Bledsoe tomorrow on my show, Talking Smack, Politics, Life.
Put me last. That's all. Put me last. That's all.
Yeah. So and this is just the life, man. I like the fact. I like what you're doing, man. This is super dope, man. You brought on board some knowledgeable dudes about the game of basketball, which I wanted you to do because I didn't want you to bring some dudes that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I mean? My show. Also,
tomorrow is only an hour. I'm gonna let you know now. It's an hour edition tomorrow. We went over. Right. We did 2 hours and 2 minutes because I got to make your show. So whoever's on my show tomorrow, we only doing an hour. So it's only a quick recap, and then we're gonna do part 3 following, and we'll bring you back after on Thursday night, so we could close it out. But go ahead, Gray. Tell them where to find you, bro.
Yeah, I go by the name of Gray. Joe is definitely my real brother. I want to say that, but I'm an artist in my own right. That's not why I'm on the show. I'm actually hosting my own show starting this Thursday for all spoken word artists and poets. It's called the Wordplay Cafe, and you can look us up at the Concourse Poetry Fest on Instagram, and you can see all that information. And I'm Art by Gray, so check me out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This Thursday night, check them out. Wordplay Cafe. That's right. I forgot you doing the poetry. Not forgot. It's some quarantine. So tune in this Thursday now on the Facebook Gray's page on Facebook and Instagram. JP, tell them where to find you at.
The government, John Paul Campbell on Facebook, but everything else is JPC, the number 2 KLUB. We out here just slowly but surely putting a few things together, lining some things up for that when we get back outside.
Wait, Jay, give it to him one more time because that the live acted up. Give it to him one more time.
My fault. At JPC, the number 2 KLUB. That's on Twitter. It's on IG. Slowly working on producing some dope content, emceeing and hosting a few other events coming up real soon once we get back outside. Thanks. So I got that lined up. So stay tuned. Aside from that, I just want to say salute to all my brothers here. This was a great conversation with my real peoples. Like, this is how we would talk any other time. You getting us live and direct, no faking it or fronting for the cameras. And on the last night, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I'm going to tell you about my personal story when I was in the same room with Michael Jordan. So that's
okay. So hold yo, listen. The last night though, don't give that away.
That's just a teaser. That's a teaser.
Save that. I want to hear that.
I will. That's what I'm doing.
Listen, I'm gonna have like I said, Gray's back tomorrow night. I got JP back tomorrow night. I got my guy Brian Isley, comedian, good friend of mine. He's done the Apollo.
You said Brian?
Definitely knowledgeable. Brian Isley, not Howard Isley. Brian Isley's on the show tomorrow night,
brother.
But you said Howard Isley, brother. Now he gonna be on Talk Smack Live, but Brian's gonna fill in and definitely add some insight, and we have a good time tomorrow night. So tune in tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast. I appreciate y'all, my brothers. Love y'all. Be safe. That's right. And it's the Last Dance Review Part 1. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe.
Vamos, chicos.
Yes, sir.